Hey guys, Larissa with BeCozi.net is here. Today I would like to share with you great news. We finally got our Jumbo Chenille in stock. So this Jumbo Chenille, if you remember, I mentioned it before, it's a really thick chenille yarn that was created specifically for BeCozi.net, custom made. It's very thick and fluffy and really soft. It's available only at BeCozi.net website, and we have 5 colors. We have beautiful ivory, blue, and we have pink, cloud, and also taupe. This beautiful colors, it comes in a skein like that. Each skein is 8 ounces. It's approximately 19 yards, and it's basically the same as 1 pound of super chunky merino. So if you would need 5 skeins for a blanket 35 by 60 or 6 for a blanket 40 by 60. It's, as I mentioned, it's very thick. For this reason, we're using the same measurements, dimensions when we are casting on this yarn. So for super chunky merino, we would start with 14 stitches for the blanket 35 by 60. It's the same with Jumbo Chenille. So today I will show you how to make this blanket. This blanket is made from Jumbo Chenille and cloud color, and you can see how big stitches are. So it's basically looking the same, as big as super chunky merino wool. The difference is this yarn is softer, fluffier. It doesn't have any shedding or peeling, and unlike merino wool that is very gentle and usually used for purposes just to for decorative purposes, this blanket can be used on a daily basis, and it can be washed, and it's easy to take care about, and it can be used anywhere. Basically, you can use it in your house, you can take it to a picnic, anywhere you want. Just look at this softness. It's amazingly soft and beautiful. So I will show you how to make this blanket 35 by 60. You will need 5 skeins if you're needing a little bit looser, like this blanket is needed. If you want it a little bit tighter, knitted tighter, you will need 6 skeins for a blanket 35 by 60. So let's get started. Guys, before starting, make sure to make a knot on the very end, both actually ends of chenille yarn, because chenille yarn has a tendency unraveling. Some skeins a little bit more, some a little bit less. So just a simple knot, and then cut the knot close to it, cut the tail close to the knot, and that's how it will look like. And the same on another side. And then let me show you how to connect. It's very simple. You're just making a very simple knot with 2 ends, 1 and then 2, and then pull it gently both sides like that, gently, that you wouldn't break it. And then when you have a tight knot, just cut those tails, and you will have a little bump. It's very soft. You will not really feel it or see it in the middle of the blanket. That's how it's connected. Okay guys, let's get started. So you can see this is our Jumbo Chenille, and this is to compare for you with the regular chunky chenille. So it looks like it's almost twice as big, and so it's almost as thick as merino wool. For this reason, we will be making as many stitches as for merino. So starting the same way as we always start. This is the tail, this is working yarn, and make a loop. Put the working yarn on the top, insert your hand inside this loop, grab working yarn and pull it out. This is your first stitch. Let's make it a little bit smaller by pulling working yarn. and we will be making a blanket 35 by 60. It means that we need to start with 14 stitches. Insert your hand, grab working yarn, pull it out, and try to make all the stitches about the same size. It should be about 4 inches big. My yarn is falling. So 3, insert your hand, grab working yarn, pull it out, and keep doing it until you have 14 stitches. So as I said, Jumbo Chenille is very thick, so we will be using the same measurements as we are using for Merino wool. For 35 inches wide blanket, you need 14 stitches. Let's count our stitches by counting holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, and 2 more stitches. It will be 14. Now, with the same as always, we're flipping the chain over to another side. We're turning our working yarn on another side. We're knitting this way, right to the left, so working yarn is laying toward left also. So we flipped it over to use these knots in the middle, and you're keeping the first stitch out, and then take this knot, insert your hand or fingers inside, grab working yarn and pull it out. The same with the next knot. Insert your hands, grab working yarn, pull it out. Insert your fingers, grab working yarn, pull it out. The same with all 14 stitches. I hope you can see how big and fluffy and soft this yarn is. It's just incredible. I really love it. I made a blanket for myself using this yarn in cloud, the same as this one, and this is my favorite blanket or throw in our living room to use in the chilly nights. So we have 14 stitches now, and now working yarn goes another direction, left to the right. You are doing the same very simple stockinette stitch. Insert your hand, grab working yarn, pull it out. This is our second row, and we're doing the same. Hand inside the stitch, grab working yarn, pull it out, and we're doing it the same way to all 14 of our stitches. My knitting is a little bit on the loose side because I like when the blanket is softer, and when the knitting is a little bit looser, the blanket is softer. If you like knit tighter, it's fine too. Just add extra skein and your stitches will be a little bit smaller. My stitch is about the size of my finger. That's how big I am keeping it. So last stitch. Now take working yarn, pull it in another direction like that on the back of the knitting project. Now next row, as usual, I am skipping knitting this first stitch. It just staying hanging here, and I'm starting with the second stitch. The reason I'm doing it to have a beautiful chain like on the bottom on both sides. Previous row you saw that I started knitting the first stitch. That was the only row when I'm knitting the first stitch, the first row after the yarn pulled out from the cast on chain. Otherwise, all other rows you are skipping the first stitch, and it doesn't have to be this way. You can still knit it. So here's we are to the last stitch. Knit the last stitch the usual way, working yarn on the back from the left to the right where we're going now, and now this stitch is just staying here and we're going to the next. So this is how we will be knitting until we have all our yarn used. actually not all, I'm sorry, you will need to leave 3 lengths of the blanket of the yarn for casting it on. Let me explain. So this is the end of this row. So if you have this, let's imagine this is your last row, then you will need to measure from here to all the way to the end of the blanket, back, and one more time, 3 lengths. It will be enough to finish or to cast off the blanket. Otherwise, just keep knitting this way, all stitches needed, and when I'm done with all the yarn, I will come back and show you how to cast off. Knitting with Jumbo Chenille is pretty easy because it's so thick and fluffy that you will make a blanket in about 40 minutes, maybe in an hour, the longest after some practice, and you will really like the softness of it. Okay guys, so we are at the end of our knitting. As I mentioned, we will have 3 lengths from this side up to the other side, 2 and 3 times. This will be enough for finishing the blanket. And now, in order to finish, you take the first stitch, add second stitch, and then push the working yarn through. You have just one left. Keep it on your hand, add the second stitch, then take the working yarn and push it through. So this is your way of casting off. You are knitting 2 stitches, one, add another, and pull the working yarn through. It will be the way to cast off all 14 stitches. Make sure that you cast off all stitches, that you wouldn't miss any, because this yarn is really fluffy. It's possible to miss one. If you miss one, just come back, unwind it, and finish. So now we have just 2 left. Pull it through, pull working yarn through, and now you have 1 stitch and a tail. Put the tail inside the stitch and gently pull it. So this is how we cast off our blanket. And now this tail can be weaved in on the back between some of the stitches, because this yarn is so fluffy you will not really notice the end of it like that. So this is our blanket. Look how thick, beautiful, and every stitch is about 2.5 inches, the same as super chunky merino wool. Again, you can buy this Jumbo Chenille at our website becozi.net, and stay warm and be cozy.